Recorded Books and One-Click Digital present Cold Fire by Kate Elliott, narrated by Charlotte Parry.
Chapter 1. It was a cursed, long and struggling walk, hauling 2 heavy carpet bags stuffed with books across the city of Adurnham. That it was night helped only because the darkness hid us. The bitter cold turned our hands to ice, even through gloves. A dusting of new snow crunched beneath our boots. My half-brother Rory ranged ahead, on the watch for militia patrols. The Prince's curfew had emptied the streets. In a normal year, every intersection would have been lit with a fire in honour of the winter solstice. Inns and taverns would have remained open all night, awash with ale and free oatcakes. But after the riots that had racked the city, people and businesses had locked their doors and shuttered their windows. It was so quiet I could hear my cousin Beatrice's breathing as she trudged along beside me with a bag across her shoulders. "Cat, are we almost there?" she asked. "I'll carry both bags," I offered, even though the one I carried felt like a bag of bricks. "It's not the weight, it's the dark." The night was hardest on her. Clouds covered the sky, and we avoided the few main thoroughfares that had gaslight and kept to side streets where it was darkest. With a curfew in force, and people fearful they would run out of oil and candles, few night watch lanterns burned on porches. Both Rory and I could see abnormally well in the dark. That was one of the reasons my family called me Cat instead of Catherine. We led the way, while Bea had the more difficult task. She had to trust us. Rory loped back. "Patrol coming!" We shrank into the shadow of an alcove. I set down my bag and slipped my ghost sword from its loop on my outer skirt. It looked like a black cane, but at night I could twist its hilt and draw a sword. I waited, poised to strike. Rory tensed like a big cat about to spring. Bea sucked in and held her breath. Ahead, a troop of mounted men clattered toward the nearest intersection. Rory sniffed, then licked his lips. "I hear other people too. I smell iron and that nasty stuff you call black powder." In the house nearest us, a shutter shifted as someone inside peeked out. I closed my eyes, tasting the air and listening with senses far sharper than Bea's. The wind carried the clop of hooves, but also a hiss of men whispering, the click of a boot heel on stone, the lick of flame and the sting of burning. "Stay here," I whispered, shoving the heavy bag into Rory's arms. They obeyed. In the interstices between our world and the spirit world lie threads of magic that bind the worlds together. I drew the threads as shadow around me to conceal myself from ordinary sight. Staying close alongside the buildings, I skulked forward. In the intersection no one moved, but I heard the jingle of harness grow louder as the soldiers approached. Movement stirred in an alley to my right. A tiny flame flared, lighting the shape of a mustachioed mouth and the gleaming barrel of a gun. After a hissed whisper, the flame was snuffed out. I stepped back against the wall of the building at the corner, just as the first rank of turbaned mage house soldiers rode into view. Sparks flowered. At least 10 sharp gunfire reports echoed down the houses. Horses snorted and shied. 2 soldiers crumpled forward. One tumbled from his horse. His boot caught in the stirrup, and the panicked horse dragged him sideways. A volley of crossbow bolts, loosed by the mounted soldiers, clattered against the buildings on either side of the alley. A glass window shattered, and bolts thunked into wood shutters. "They're bad shots," shouted a man from the alley. "We've got them, lads! Fire!" But instead of loud reports, the only sound was a series of deadened clicks. The mage troop swept forward as a seam of icy white light ripped
Sample complete. Ready to continue?